So today we're going to be talking about Greenscreen, which is a trellis. So it is used in combination with vines to create a green facade. Greenscreen is the leader in green facade systems, pioneering living architecture since 1993. And Greenscreen joined the Tournesol family in 2022. Greenscreen's innovative three-dimensional trellis panels transform building exteriors into dynamic living art. Greenscreen panel system is engineered for performance. It is a three-dimensional panel designed for plant growth and to be used on exterior applications. It's made at our factory in Fontana, California from 14-gauge wire. That's galvanized and also powder coated. It has a 2-inch face grid on the front and back of each panel, and the zigzag wires you see here show the 3-inch panel depth. And what makes Greenscreen unique is that it's very lightweight yet very rigid. So the Greenscreen panel parameters, it is available in widths from 6 inches to 48 inches, and it is available in lengths from 12 inches to 168 inches. So meaning the largest single panel we can make is 4 foot by 14 foot, and panels can be mounted up against each other to create larger swaths of area. The panels are based on a 2-inch grid, and the panel sizes are nominal. So just note that a 48-inch panel, the actual size can be 48 1/8 to 48 1/4. And that's something to keep in mind when you're designing your projects. So the Greenscreen has 2 trim options. We have the channel trim, which is a closed trim, and that can be placed on the top or vertical panel edges. And we have the open or the edge trim that can be used on vertical panel edges or also on the bottom of panels where needed. Typically, trim is only used at the exposed areas of an overall grouping of panels. Our trim is not structural. It really is more of a finishing element in most cases. And it is not required at panel seams where 2 panels butt up against each other. And Greenscreen is powder coated. Here we see here the 6 colors that traditionally Greenscreen has been offered in. But starting in 2026, in addition to these 6 colors, you'll also be able to order Greenscreen in any of the powder coat colors that our planters come in here at Tournesol. So for Greenscreen applications, it's a very versatile product. It can be used on walls, either flat or curved. It can be used on columns, and it can be used as infill or overhead in a pergola application. And Greenscreen also lends itself well to fencing. Panels can be combined with 3-inch square posts that are powder coated to match the panels to create fencing to meet your requirements. So here we see some examples of the way Greenscreen is most commonly used, and that's for a wall-mounted application. And the green facade, there are 3 main components. The trellis panel, of course, is the main component, but in order to get the green facade, you need to have a planting area at the base, and then you also need vines planted. And in most jurisdictions or most regions of the country, drip irrigation will be recommended for the vines for best performance. Greenscreen panels transform building facades into vibrant, energy-efficient displays. They support climbing and deciduous vines that shade structures in summer and allow sunlight to heat the buildings in winter. Panels can be fabricated for flat or curved walls, matching building contours. The system's modular design ensures a seamless and secure installation. Our fabrication team can modify panels to fit unique shapes. And here we see an example of a parking structure. We can see here that green screen is used. Rectangular panels are used to create. Let me go back one. So here we see green screen used for a wall-mounted application. Green screen applications for walls. A number of factors can influence the quantity of clips and mounting location, but a good rule of thumb is to use the 4 or more clips on a 4x6 panel, 6 clips or more for 4x8 panels, and a minimum of 8 clips on a 4x12 or 4x14 foot panel. Clip locations. The general guidelines you can see here for a typical clip layout, but one of the nice things about green screen is that you can move the clips up or down in 2-inch increments based on the site conditions. Green screen can span openings and can cantilever up to 20% of the overall panel length. And then the unsupported span is 8 foot. So here we see an example of an opening that's approximately 7 foot, and we can see the clips are placed at 8 foot on center, thus meeting the 8 foot maximum requirement for support. Green screen can be modified to accommodate curved walls. So we see here on the right-hand side a green screen installation that's wall mounted with curved walls. And then green screen can also be used for infill and overhead applications. So in both of these examples, the steel structure was by other. It would have been designed by the project structural engineer or the architect, and then fabricated by a local steel shop or miscellaneous metals fabricator. And then green screen panels were used as infill within the steel structure by others. Here we see another example of green screen infill. On the left, we can see the New York Botanical Gardens. This parking structure had a unique triangular design, and green screen was modified to fit precisely within these triangles. And on the right, we see another example of green screen being used as infill within an architectural opening. Green screen panels can fill steel structures built by others, such as alcoves, guardrails, pergolas, and archways. These panels allow for filtered light into a space, while also serving as a visual and physical barrier. Panels can be mounted in alcoves to sit flush with the building exterior. They can also be mounted to walls and floors for versatile application. Green screen is well suited for infill applications. Here we can see a sample opening. In this case, it is a 49-inch opening, which will accommodate a 48-inch panel. And it's always important to have the opening 1 inch larger than the panel, because keep in mind that the panel sizes are nominal. So a 48-inch panel with trim would be closer to 48¼ inches. That's why we recommend the opening to be 49 inches or 1 inch larger. Panels can be placed overhead on pergola structures. So on the left, we can see how Greenscreen is being used as infill, or it can also mount to the top of the structure. And there are pros and cons to both methods of application. But if you reach out to any of our, experts, myself or anyone else on the team, we can direct you on what might make the most sense for your projects. Greenscreen is well suited for columns as well. So both of these project examples are pergolas where the structure is by others, but where Greenscreen supplied the column trellises. On the left, these are square columns, and on the right, round columns. And here we see another view of that round column application. Again, in this case, the structure is by others, and then Greenscreen wraps around the structural columns to create a trellis framework for vines to grow up. And here we have something, it's sort of a hybrid between a fence and a column. In this case, this project, the municipality did not want to attach the columns directly to the concrete structure. So we came up with a system that is post-mounted, which is supported by concrete footings below grade. And then we were able to do curved panels so that we can create these columns that are used, both for beautification and then also as a type of graffiti control to prevent, any bills being posted on the concrete columns. Greenscreen panels can be cut to curve to wrap around columns. When finished with optional trim band and closed using 5131 flexi rings, columns rest on 5132 V-clips customized to fit a post by others. Our standard 3-inch post can be supplied if needed for freestanding options. The most cost-effective standard column uses a single 48-inch wide panel, which creates a column with a diameter of approximately 15.5 inches. And here we see a standard column on the left, so that's the 15.5-inch diameter, and that's the best for value engineering because it just uses one panel molded into a column. In the middle, we can see a larger custom radius, and this would be made of multiple panels to create whatever radius is needed. And on the right-hand side, we can see square columns. So we can also do a square column to wrap around an existing tube seal structure. Greenscreen works well for fencing. So here we see a fencing application on the ground level of a parking garage. And this fencing is doing double duty. It's serving both as a security screen and as a screening device. And again, these are 3-inch square posts that are powder coated to match the panels. And here we see two other fencing applications. On the left is from the Getty Museum. This designer had a unique request, which we were able to accommodate. They wanted the panels to cantilever above the top of the post, which we were able to accommodate. We can see, and then also you can see that the posts have a welded flat cap. So we offer posts with a standard post cap or with an optional welded flat cap upon request. And on the right-hand side, we see another fencing application. This is called the crimp to curve fence, and we can curve the panels to meet any radius. Greenscreen freestanding fencing is a modular system made up of steel posts, trellis panels, and mounting hardware, offering flexible design options for privacy, shade, and enclosure. The 3-inch deep trellis panels support plant growth, creating the look and benefits of a living fence. And one thing we just want to note here is that Greenscreen does not meet the code requirements for a swimming pool enclosure in most jurisdictions. Also, a Greenscreen fence would not typically meet a guardrail condition, but we can work with you to walk you through how you can incorporate Greenscreen panels into a guardrail. But the Greenscreen fence alone, because there's no top rail, would not meet the code requirement for a 42-inch high guardrail. Panels can be mounted on fence posts, either horizontally or vertically, but all panels should maintain the same orientation. All fences with curved panels will need to be crimped to curve in horizontal orientation. Greenscreen panels can be crimped to create curved fencing. Panels can only curve in one direction. To achieve a reverse or compound curve, directional change must occur at a post location. Crimp to curve fence panels cannot have a radius smaller than 24 inches. The cut to curve method can create a tighter radius, however, this approach is not suitable for all fences. Post options. 3-inch square steel posts with a 3/16 inch wall are standard. They match panel thickness and support straight or 90-degree connections. Round posts are used for unique angles or curved fences. Square posts are available with a square cap or welded flat cap, as are round posts. Posts are available for embedment into a concrete footing or with a welded base plate. The size is based on project requirements. Greenscreen can provide engineering services or sealed calculations for an additional fee if needed. And then we can also give general recommendations to assist your project engineer. Gates, standard gates are tube steel frame construction with an infill panel that are powder coated to match. And you can connect with one of our advisors to discuss the options in more detail. Gate hardware is provided by others. Greenscreen recommends hardware that is mechanically fastened rather than welded. Posts adjacent to gates may need to have a thicker wall or deeper footing to account for the weight of the gate. Here we see the two mounting options to attach the Greenscreen panels to fence posts. On the left is the concealed fastener, which has a cleaner look, but it does require trim on the vertical panel edges, and it is a little more labor intensive to install. However, it does offer a very clean look. However, for a more basic fence like a utility enclosure or just a boundary fence, the traditional snap clip would be the recommended clip. It allows for a very quick installation and is lower cost compared to the concealed fastener detail. And then we have some additional resources. We have an environmental documentation. We have vine selection guidelines. We have planting guidelines and vine maintenance guidelines. A note on vines. As we've mentioned, vines are the other important component to include when you're designing a green screen. You always want to make sure you allow for a planting bed at the base of the green screen panels. Again, irrigation would be required in most climate zones for the vines to have their best performance. And twining vines, and those would be examples would be clematis or jasmine or honeysuckle. Those types of vines work best on green screen. There are a handful of vines you really want to avoid when you're working with green screen, and those would be vines that have little suction cups that attach to the wall. So the 3 vines to avoid when you're using green screen would be English ivy, Boston ivy, or creeping fig. And again, you can contact us for more information if you have any questions, and we can sort of give you some general guidance, but we would recommend that you work with a local landscape architect or horticulturalist in refining your vine selections.